the region going up to Thief River Falls at the Little Ralph, and it's always a good time. And Coach Dave Cozen from DGF, always a fun time up there, isn't it?
Yeah, team sessions up at Thief River is always a lot of fun. They got 8A and 8AA there, so great for the fans, great for the sport of wrestling, and it's going to be a fun tournament for 8A and 8AA.
Let's talk about the Rebels a little bit. Kevin Wolven did just a great story, and no matter what happens tomorrow, this has been it kind of shows, and you come from a wrestling family, you know all about that, but it really is something else with the story about Wyatt Whitaker and Gunnar Whitaker. I tell you, I was fighting tears because I've known these kids since little kids wrestling as well. It's really a heart-wrenching story, isn't it?
Right. I mean, that was the thing this year, to put yourself in their shoes. I mean, he's a 17-year-old kid, and to lose both parents, plus, being in wrestling already is, a very demanding sport. So, for him to go through all this, it just really shows how good of a person he is, and, it really shows how great the sport of wrestling is, how everyone, comes together. And, you look at other teams like Frazee and stuff that have had tragedies and stuff happen with their wrestlers, and, it's just right, and that you talk to other coaches and stuff like that, and they have all the support in the world for you. And prime example, HOL, Wyatt had to head down to the cities because of his dad passing and everything, and just talking with the other coaches and everything, and that they just have tons of support for you, and they're just they have your back, and that's something that's really special.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I think a lot of people around the region will be pulling for Wyatt to do well coming up in the postseason, both tomorrow and individuals the next weekend. Just talk a little bit about your section. Obviously, Frazee, I don't think there's any doubt, the favorite year in, year out, I guess, right? Them along with Badger, Greenbush, Middle River the past 20 years.
Right. Yeah. Frazee has a very balanced team. They got some really good individuals. I mean, you look at some of their guys like Tanner Reitz at 113. He's a really tough kid, and he's gonna do some damage down at the XL this year and everything. So yeah, it's gonna be fun at teams and fun at Glendon when we host the individual sections again. It's great atmosphere and great matches, and it's gonna be interesting.
You're the 5th seed. You faced Monoma and Waban, and year in and year out, they had a state champion last year, and Garrett Hoffner was wrestling for the Dragons this year. But they got some pretty good kids there as well. That's going to be an interesting 4-5 matchup coming up tomorrow.
Yeah, it will be. I mean, we wrestled them not too long ago. We had a bunch of guys out and stuff like that. So our guys are ready to go tomorrow to show everybody what we got, and we'll see what happens.
We mentioned Wyatt and the good year that he's been having, but boy, you've had some tough kids at the upper weights too as well. I mean, really some improved kids.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, that was something that we were really looking forward to this season is our upper weights. We got some guys that guys like Alex Fox that has had a great year. Garrett Pembleton's had a great year. Ben Martin. It's nice when we get to the end of our dual meet and we can close out with some guys that have had a lot of varsity experience and a lot of matches, and know that they're going to go out there and perform. So,
pound for pound, probably one of your better wrestlers, Alex Johnson. He's been a thrill to watch. Coming up in his senior year here, he's really had a great season, hasn't he?
Yes. Alex, he's by far the hardest worker that we have in the room. And he's just had a great year. And at the start of the year, we were cutting a little bit to 32 and had some troubles, but we're just really rolling right now. We're coming off of some big wins, and we're looking forward to the individual sections and hopefully get down to the XL again this year. We came off last week. We beat Nate Mertens from Crookston, and we've beaten Skillings this year from Frazee. So we're looking at the top seed, and again, we're excited. He's excited.
Yeah, he's been having a great year. Been fun to watch all season long. And just kind of wrapping things up, so you have the 8A side with Frazee favored. Perm is also there on the 8AA side, and so it's quite an event up there with all the mats up at the Little Ralph. So that I think they're the favorites as well on that side. Boy, Moorhead again this year has a chance to win 8AA. We'll see what happens down in Pelican Rapids at 6A. Wrestling's still thriving pretty well in this region, don't you think?
Oh man, I mean, I talked with a lot of different coaches and stuff about that too. Just this area, there's so many good teams. I mean, you look at Barnesville having, you know, good teams the last couple of years, in Moorhead now, and then you got Perm and Frazee and DL. I mean, everywhere you go to wrestle, you're wrestling quality guys, quality teams. So, you know, a lot of times I think, you know, our guys in this area, their record doesn't really show, you know, how good they are, because we just have such strong wrestling around here. Yeah,
and it's kind of nice too, I think, and you see this earlier in the year. You get to go over on the other side of the river and get that style a little bit. Of course, they're in the middle of their state tournament right now in North Dakota, which we talked about earlier. But it's kind of a nice mixture we get here in the Red River Valley.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we've wrestled a lot of North Dakota schools this year as well, just to see them and a little bit different style and stuff of wrestling that they have, and you know, it's great.
You bet. Well, you've done a great job in getting that program. You certainly have a lot of young kids. It's been fun to watch Rebel Wrestling thriving, as you mentioned. Should mention a couple things. Now, you face Monoma and Waubun tomorrow at 12:30. The winner faces, I'm going to say most likely Frazee. There's a pigtail match there, but most likely Frazee later in the afternoon. And then, as you mentioned, probably one of the better run tournaments around, the 8A tournament. That's coming up a week from today, right?
Yep, at Glendon. I think this might be our 20th year in a row that we've hosted that. So, you know, we put on a good tournament, and it's, like I said, it's a great atmosphere. That Friday night is wild, and the finals on Saturday usually starts at 4:00, and it's wild in there.
Yeah, there's no doubt the semifinals Friday night is about as intense as anything that you see in high school sports. That is for sure.
Yes, it is.
All right, my friend. Well, it's nice to talk about stuff on the mat, because, as you know, there's been a lot of drama in my world here.
Yep.
Well, let me get your take on that before we let you go. Just, it is kind of one of those things, and, you know, hockey's been through it, and, you know, Hopkins basketball, we talked about that earlier. It's just kind of one of these things when you talk about the Apple Valleys and whatever, and how it might trickle down to other programs within the state of Minnesota. As great as the sport is, we do kind of have those things that kind of make people cringe. You agree on that, or?
Yeah. I mean, I think there's, you know, things that you agree with and disagree with on both sides. I mean, I agree that, you know, kids want to go out and they want to be the best that they can be, and to go to places like Apple Valley and stuff like that, where you're getting the best, you know, sparring partners and things like that, and going to national tournaments and tough tournaments like that. They're being the best that they can be, and that's their goal. So it's tough to take away from that, but, you know, then at the same time, in this situation, he's coming in late in the year, so.
Yeah, it's a tough deal, because I want to see the kid have the opportunity. Yeah, I certainly do, and there's a lot of extenuating circumstances, and I'm just kind of looking at the thing as a whole, you know, whether the transferring thing is such a sticky thing so many different ways, and it's an uncomfortable thing to talk about, because we like to focus on what's going on in the mat.
Exactly.
I know. There's no right.
As long as the rules are there, I mean, they're following the rules, there's not a whole lot that people can do. So.
No, that is for sure. That's for sure. Well, there'll be some great team tournaments in Minnesota. The North Dakota State Wrestling Tournament going on as we speak. Davey, always fun talking to you, and we'll catch up with you down the road.
Yep, thank you, Dan. Or Derek, sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, I used to substitute teach you, so you just know me as Mr. Hansen, right? So
that's right.
That's how old I am, too. Is now, you know, I used to teach you, for crying out loud. Hey, good luck, Coach. We'll talk to you soon.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Dave Cozen with us here on the Mighty 790 KHO. It does make me feel old that a high school coach is someone